Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to become a flight attendant and specifically all about the one-on-one interview. If you want to learn all about it, then keep watching this video. Hi, my name is Bree. I'm a flight attendant in Australia and I've been a flight attendant for over 3 years now. As I said in this video, I'm going to be talking about the one-on-one interview. If you have missed my other 3 videos that I've done as part of this How to Become a Flight Attendant series, then definitely go check those videos out. I will pop them in the description for you. The first video, I talk about the application process. The second video, I talk about the phone and video interview. The third video, I talk about the assessment day. And this video, as I said, I'm talking about the one-on-one interview. After this video, I just have one more video in the series, which is all about all the other checks that you need to get to become a flight attendant. I will be posting that last video pretty soon, so definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. So I have my laptop here and I've got all my notes, so if I do look down, that's why. I've split this video up into 3 parts. The first part, I'm going to be answering your guys' question about the one-on-one interview. The second part, I'm going to be giving you guys some example questions that the interviewer will perhaps ask you and help you answer those questions in a good way. And the third part is I'm going to give you guys some questions to ask the interviewer as well, because that's always very important. So let's get into the video. So first of all, I'm just going to quickly answer the question, what to wear. I answered this question in the assessment day video, so definitely go check out that video. I'll put it in the description for you. But basically wear business attire and kind of mimic what the airline flight attendants wear as well. So the next question is, who interviews you? Personally, I had a crew manager interview me. So a manager of 50 to 100 flight attendants from the airline. I know that other people got interviewed by recruitment, so it could be one or the other, and I'm sure that each airline does it a little bit differently as well. A tip for that is, if you do know their name, definitely use it throughout the interview. So if they've introduced themselves at the assessment day, which for me was just before my one-on-one interview, was on the same day for me, so definitely use that name because it shows that you have attention to detail and that you remember things that are personable. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the questions that the interviewer will ask you. Now there's 2 types of questions that an interviewer can ask you. One is about yourself and the other one is behavioral questions. If I was you and I was really serious about becoming a flight attendant, or if I had a one-on-one interview coming up, I would personally write down all these questions that I'm sharing with you in this video and write a paragraph answering them, so that when these questions are asked in your interview, you will already have something to draw back on. And plus, doing that really prepares you as well for the interview. So the first question that I'm going to discuss is the question, tell me about yourself. I guarantee that this question always gets asked in interviews because it's an opportunity for you to share with the interviewer about yourself. The interviewer may not have read your resume, so whatever you've shared in your resume, make sure that you share that verbally as well. And also a tip with this is, don't downplay your experiences. You really need to sell them. So if you've done something extremely amazing that would be beneficial for this role, or if you have experience, share it, and don't feel like you've got a big head or anything. You need to share these things. Yeah, and I think downplaying experiences and things like that, or downplaying your expertise, is definitely something we do as humans sometimes. So don't be afraid, because this is the time to sell yourself. Another question that might be asked is, why do you want to become a flight attendant? And with this question, make sure you have another answer as well as traveling and things like that, because I'm sure everyone wants the job for that reason, but make sure you have another reason as well as to why you want the job. If that's you love customer service, or it's you love working with people, or you love working shift work. Another question that might be asked is, why do you want to work for this airline? Make sure you have a reason for that answer, and make sure you do your research on the airline as well so that you can answer that question. Like, I love that this airline does X, Y, and Z, or I love the culture that this airline has, or I love the values that it stands for, and things like that. Another question that might be asked is, what does customer service experience mean to you? Definitely draw on your own experience here here and share what it does mean for you. Another question that might be asked is, how will you manage a 24/7 hour roster while being away from home and like working public holidays? Definitely share your experience here and have a reason how you will be able to manage that. Okay, I'm going to talk about behavioral questions as well. These are questions like, give me a time that you felt you went above and beyond in your job, or give me an example when you showed exceptional customer service, or give me an example when you resolved conflict for a customer. These behavioral questions are really important, and I guarantee that you'll be asked one of these questions in the one-on-one interview. And with these behavioral questions, there is a really good way in how to answer it, and it's called the STAR method. If you've never heard of the STAR method before, S stands for situation, T stands for task, A stands for action, and R stands for result. So with situation, you basically give the interviewer a brief summary of the context, including the problem you were solving or a goal that you're looking to achieve. This should answer the questions of who, what, when, and where. Task is where you give an example of what your task required you to do. So you list your responsibilities and the game plan to resolve the situation. Action is where you describe what steps you took to reach the solution. This is a great opportunity to list the obstacles that you have overcome during the process. Feel free to elaborate on your thought process throughout this situation so that the interviewer gets an idea of how you think. And the last one is result. This is probably the most important part of the STAR method. It's like the ending of the story. So this is where you explain the outcome of the situation and any lessons that you've learned from that situation that you can apply. If you have any clear metrics like sales or reviews or any sort of tangible outcome, this is where you would share that as well. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples from the internet. This answers the question, give me an example when you showed exceptional customer service. Situation. While I was working as a cashier, a customer was struggling to carry her groceries out to the car while pushing a stroller with her young children. Task. I was one of 3 cashiers at the register that day, and I had just finished checking out her groceries when I noticed that she was having trouble, so I decided to help. Action. First, I asked my 2 work co-workers at the registers if they could handle the remaining customers in line so I could help the woman carry the groceries to her car. They agreed. So I put up my register closed sign and assisted the customer in carrying the groceries outside. Results. The customer was so happy for the help. She thanked me after I helped her load the groceries in her car. When she got home, she even called the customer support line listed on her receipt to give a glowing review, and she mentioned my name. I would definitely recommend that you find 2 customer service experiences in your life and write them out in this STAR method so that when behavioral questions are asked for you, you'll be able to just, whip out this question that you have already prepared and you'll be able to explain the situation really well for the recruiter. So the last part of this video, I'm going to give you guys some questions to ask at the end of an interview. The interviewer always asks, do you have any questions for us? And at this point, you should be asking them questions, because if you're asking them questions, then it really shows that you are really thinking about the role and that you are interested. Like if you don't ask any questions, it kind of shows the interviewer that you're not as interested. But if you do ask questions and you show that you are curious towards the job and you want to learn more about it, then that's a good sign for the interviewer. So I'm going to give you some questions. I've written a list of questions that I think will be good to ask, but don't use my questions, because if everyone uses my questions, then that won't be good. So definitely put your own swing on these questions, but I'm going to give you some examples. So first of all, you want to be asking the interviewer about themselves, because people love talking about themselves and it gives the opportunity for the interviewer to share more about them. Some questions that I've thought of are, what's your experience been like with the airline? Or even, how did you end up here in the airline? What was the process like? Did you start out in another role? Then you should ask some questions also about the role. So like, what does an average day look like in this role? Are there opportunities for career progression in this role? That shows that you're driven and that you're wanting to add value to the airline if you ask that question. Then there's other questions like, what does the training process look like? Is there a sense of community in the workplace? And what does the company contribute to the broader community in a way? You can also ask questions like, what are the biggest challenges that a person in this role might face? what does success look like in this role? And when they give you their answers, like, you know, someone who is, you know, committed or loyal or shows good customer service, that's a good opportunity for you to share an experience as well of you showing loyalty or showing customer service or, you know, showing that commitment to the role. Yeah, that's a good tip as well, is when you're asking questions, you can also, a bit sneaky, but like you can ask questions in a way where you might expect a certain answer, and then you'll be able to share an experience where you have been able to overcome that situation. Another good question is there anything else that I can provide to you that would be helpful? So those are all my questions. That is my advice for the one-on-one interview. If you haven't watched my other videos, go watch them now because they're really informative. If you want to stick around and watch my next video, which will be coming out very shortly, which will be the last part in this series, where I'll be talking about reference checks, where I'll be talking about medical exams that you have to go through, swimming tests that you have to go through, all the other things that are involved in the recruitment process. Definitely click that subscribe button, slide into my DMs if you have any other questions, or pop them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video.